let's review functions. A function cannot have any repeating x values. That's the key thing with the function. Of these three tables, this is a function because each of the x values is different. This one's a function because each of the x values, again, is different. This one is not a function because we end up with repeating x values. So that one's no. When we're looking at the graph and determining if the graph is a function, it has to pass the vertical line test. Okay? So it's got to pass the vertical line test. This one does pass the vertical line test because all vertical lines hit that graph once, so that's yes. A line is going to pass the vertical line test because all vertical lines hit that graph one time. This is a parabola that passes the vertical line test. So that's yes. A circle does not because you get two hits with a circle. So that's no. This one, again, you get two hits. So that's no. This is a graph of a square root function. That passes a vertical line test. And this is a graph of an exponential growth function. And that passes a vertical line test as well. When we look at to determine if the equations are functions, a couple of helpful hints. All these are functions. If it's linear, y equals mx plus b. If it's quadratic, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. If it's y equals the square root of x, or if it's exponential. These are all going to be functions. However, if you have a y squared involved, then it's not going to be a function. So this is the equation of a circle. That's not a function. And this is the equation of a sideways parabola, and that's not going to be a function either. So if you have an x squared, it's not going to be a function. So which of these are functions? Well, the first one is a function because it's a line. This is a function because it just has a y. It's a parabola. This is a function because we just have y by itself. This is not a function because we have the y squared. And this equation of a circle is not a function because, again, we have the y squared. And then last thing we talked about was finding the value of a function. So if g of x equals x squared plus 2x, you want to find g of negative 3. Everywhere you see an x, write a parenthesis. Put the negative 3 in the parenthesis. Negative 3 squared is 9. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. That simplifies to 3. Here we're going to put the 3a in for x. So we have 3a squared. That'd be 3a times 3a, which is 9a squared plus 6a. And that's as simplified as that's going to get. Now for the last question here, it says g of x is negative 1. So we're going to put negative 1 in there. So we get negative 1 equals x squared plus 2x. That's a quadratic, so to solve it, we want to set it equal to 0. So add 1 to both sides. Then we're going to factor. That's going to be x plus 1 times x plus 1. And then set each parenthesis equal to 0. So we just get x plus 1 equals 0 and x equals negative 1 for your answer.